Morning with Sam Delaney and Kate Hardcastle. Kate, we start with you, should we? And the Eye. It's a depressing front page for us, looking at the amount of debt we all have.
It really is depressing, but it's factual and it's something we need to be aware of. I mean, what they're saying is that the average family is in debt to another £10,000 on top of mortgages. That's credit cards and loans. But for me, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but the adverts for credit at the moment with 4,000% APR, where families are using these instant methods just to get through the month, thinking it's a quick fix and not getting out of this mess. And for me, the concerns straight away are, yes, we're going to have to borrow, everyone's in the same situation, but the more expensive forms of credit and how many families are having to go to doorstep lending and some of these high percentage agencies is really, really concerning. They're suggesting that perhaps we're cutting back more and more, and that might include the regular takeaway, which will help with the obesity issue, so that's one thing sorted out. But we're not going to give up on our coffees. Takeaway coffees, no, they are not going. We need the caffeine fix. Yeah, but it's a sad state of...
Actually, there's those takeaway coffees that cost an absolute arm and a leg at times, don't
Yeah,
they?
if you add it all up, but it's just, but our tastes have become more expensive.
Yeah,
because,
very much
10
so.
years ago, no one went around with a £2.50 cappuccino on the go. It's just everyone's got more expensive tastes now.
Yeah.
What we're finding is people are just needing those luxuries just to get by and get through. You know, the week's so hard, you need your pick-me-ups.
I think that's the thing, yeah, the harder things are, the more people think, actually, do you know what, I need this
Absolutely.
to make me feel a bit better, cheer me up a bit. Yeah.
That's what the consumer's saying.
Sam, to the mirror, flip-flops. You're not talking about suitable things to wear in this hot weather.
No, flip-flops. The Mirror, every day, the art desk on the Mirror like to contort the heads of Nick Clegg and David Cameron in some way or another.
Yeah.
And they've really pulled out all the stops today. It's like they look at, they think, what haven't we done so far this week? We could turn them upside down. It's to represent the fact that they say the government are chaotic and they perform 32 U-turns, the latest being VAT, the much talked about VAT on pasties and sausage rolls. Personally, I think decisiveness is an overrated virtue in any human being. I like indecisive people who can change their mind like the weather from one moment to the next. It shows a certain confidence, I'm not a fan of any of the government's policies, but I am a fan of the way in which they're not shy about admitting almost constantly that they got a bit confused or wrong. I would prefer that. There's nothing worse than to feel there's someone in charge who makes something up off the top of their head, and then when they realise it's all going rubbish, they just stick with it out of pride. I think that's very embarrassing and dangerous. So I like a government who are prepared to constantly U-turn on everything. As far as the pasties are concerned, I'm sick of hearing about this pasty tax. Everyone thinks the Cornish pasty is in some way inherently amusing. It's not. It's boring. It's a 1970s snack. My advice is stop eating pasties altogether. Then you don't have to worry about the VAT.
Delaney,
Get with the
how can you
kids.
say
It's
that?
an old-fashioned grandad snack.
No, it's
the kids
not.
these days, they're eating sushi and peri-peri. Very good for your heart anyway. And, a
Do you know, as a
pasty.
northerner, I quite like you
They
say
should
that.
they should put a health tax on pasties because they're a burden on the NHS
As
anyway,
someone
aren't
who's
they?
got West Country roots, I can't let
Yeah,
you say that
exactly.
either. That's outrageous.
hanging out.
the
Have
nation's
one
snack.
once in a while, OK? But stomach the VAT if that's what they're going to put on it, because, we need it because all the people going in obese because they're on too many... They're a burden on the NHS, they're eating too many
I've just
pasties.
solved that earlier on.
Sushi
Getting
and
rid of the
peri-peri,
takeaway.
though, it sounds a bit like sort of champagne socialism, doesn't it?
No, that's what... Even normal kids, you get with the programme, maybe 10, 20 years ago, now everyone's eating peri-peri chicken. It's the most popular takeaway in the country.
Kate, to the bottom of the Telegraph, the way to attract viewers.
Well, the one thing we've got is nakedness. If you want some success, other than turning heads upside down, get naked. And that's been the success of the iPlayer. This episode of Sherlock got 100 complaints, but 2.5 million downloads or watches on iPlayer. So I think that's quite funny. Yeah, so work that out. That's been the secret to their success. I can imagine most people's Januaries were quite a happy one who watched it.
I just wonder why anyone would particularly want to complain about it in something like Sherlock.
Well, let's go find the 100 people.
Well,
That's the one.
could do. I bet no one wants to complain about it. At Sky Stephen, if you complained about Sherlock and the naked lady.
Let's find them. Let's ask why.
It's after the watershed, though, wasn't it? So it's not.
Absolutely, and it was a very justifiable scene.
And we should say as well, there are no plans to do this on Sunrise in order to attract more viewers, are there?
You say that, that's
gonna
because your
just find
ratings are
some
high.
people.
Wait until the day they start to drop. Don't rule
We know
anything
what
out.
to do. We know what to do.
I wondered why Eamon wasn't in before. Anyway,
He's in a towel in the back.
I've got the short straw. Sam, to the Sun, the generation trap.
1 in 3 men aged 20 to 34 still live with their parents. 1 in 6 women do the same. They've got a regional breakdown here. Northern Ireland is where it's most common. London, surprisingly, is where it's least common, although there's still 22.6% of young people living at home well into their 30s. You can see why it is. It's harder and harder to get onto the property market, times as they are. I mean, you know, you can either live at home with mum and dad, have your meals cooked for you and have a nice, comfortable bed to sleep in, or you can rent. You can get yourself into all this debt we've just been talking about by renting, you know, a hovel above a kebab shop in a murderous area. This is the predicament that a lot of young people find themselves in.
But what about those young people? But yeah, I sort of think young men. Well, I relate to young men, of course, because I was one once. But yeah, you want to get out. You want to lead your own life.
Yes.
You have a late night or do whatever.
Absolutely.
You can't do it at your mum's
in an
house.
ideal world, some people, well, you know, some people have very liberal mothers, but you know. In an ideal world, everyone would like to move out and live their own life, but obviously it's increasingly difficult to do so. So they're stuck at home, just like Ronnie Corbett in the 80s sitcom Sorry. Remember that?
Yeah.
At home with mum and dad, languishing with it. Of course, in other countries, Mediterranean countries, like in Italy, for instance, it's very common to stay at home with mama until you're married and with children. It's indecent not to.
And listen, we talked about this earlier, actually. Now, I must just quickly mention this tweet from Brian, who does live at home, and he says it can help out his 81-year-old mum. He says that it's a bit unfair to generalise, so I just wanted to make that point, because not everybody is staying at home.
Someone on the sports desk actually lives at home with his mum.
Really?
He's in his 50s.
Well, you can tell us who
It's
that
never
is.
it's never really curbed any of his activities, I don't think.
Oh,
Yeah, see, some mums are only too happy for you to sort of,
Maybe
you know,
she can't hear.
have visitors, so to speak.
Oh dear. Let's move swiftly on, should we? Kate, I want to look at the Telegraph if we can. Page 9. At the RSPCA giving us a warning about our trampolines in the garden.
Well, I mean, I know in these stories it's easier to pick on the spokesperson that's made the very obvious comment, but as someone who works with the RSPCA, I've got to defend them a little bit. It was a Radio 4 phone-in for the Chelsea Flower Show, and a mum wanted everything, you know, not the career and the children, but she wanted a rabbit and a trampoline and some flowers in the back garden, and asked their expert, how do I do this? Probably the sensible answer would have been, well, you can't. But he decided to, you know, perhaps suggest she had a trampoline with the rabbits underneath and the hanging baskets on the trampoline. Great laughter he created in the audience that day. And then obviously the RSPCA and also the British Health and Safety Council have had to come out and advise people this is not the right thing to do. And it absolutely isn't. You know,
No.
you should not do it.
Rabbits,
in
rabbits
case the
and
children
trampolines
bounce on
don't
the trampoline
go.
and squash the rabbits? What was
Well,
the reason for
absolutely,
that? Right,
yeah.
okay.
The rabbits need to have space and run and be free and not be under a trampoline. And nor should you attempt to hang a basket off a trampoline. So
No.
if we're all clear on that, I think we can
My
probably
cats
move
really
on.
like it under the trampoline, though. They do, yes. Shades.
Yeah.
Jackie,
I'm just saying they do.
Jackie, you're in the same league as Bob Flowerdew now. That just
Yeah,
sounds
leave
so
it
cool.
now.
that.
People are going to have to make all
Outrage.
kinds of statements.
Sam, Kate, great to see you. See you again in an hour. Look forward to that, but let's get a check on those back pages, Jackie.
Well, Mario Balotelli making a bit of a